The Galactic Coalition's forward base Epsilon 7 had survived 3 years of border skirmishes without incident. Then Reyna arrived, and everything changed in the span of a single wink. She hadn't meant anything by it. Humans winked. It was as natural as breathing. A friendly gesture, a joke shared, sometimes just dust in the eye. But when Reyna winked at young Torin across the training yard, she unknowingly triggered a chain reaction that would alter combat doctrine across 4 star systems. Torin was a Krell, one of the reptilian warrior species whose people had evolved from apex predators on a death world even harsher than Earth. At barely 17 cycles old, he was still a cub by his people's standards, eager to prove himself among the Coalition forces. He'd been watching Reyna with the intensity his species was known for, studying the human who'd somehow survived situations that killed veteran Krell warriors. The wink happened during a routine drill. Reyna had just disassembled and reassembled her plasma rifle in 42 seconds, a new base record. She caught Torin staring and, with characteristic human casualness, winked at him before moving to the next station. Torin's neural implant nearly overloaded analyzing the gesture. His species communicated threat levels through eye movements and pupil dilation, a deliberate, controlled closure of one eye while maintaining visual contact with the other. That was impossibly advanced predator behavior. It suggested such confidence in one's dominance that you could voluntarily blind yourself to half the battlefield while still maintaining target acquisition. The cub didn't sleep that cycle. He studied every recorded instance of human behavior. In the base archives, cross-referencing combat footage with casual interactions, the pattern seemed clear. Humans winked before moments of decisive action, before impossible victories, before doing things that should have killed them but didn't. By the next morning, Torin had shared his findings with 3 other cubs in his cohort. By evening, every young Krell on the base was practicing the human combat signal in secret, trying to master the precise muscle control required. They failed spectacularly. Their nictitating membranes weren't designed for such movements, but their dedication was absolute. The breakthrough came during a firefight 2 weeks later. Reyna's squad had been pinned down by Hectoran raiders in a canyon system. The enemy held the high ground, their energy weapons turning the narrow pass into a kill zone. Standard procedure called for calling in orbital support, but atmospheric interference made that impossible for at least 20 minutes. 20 minutes they didn't have. Torin watched from the secondary position as Reyna assessed the situation. Then he saw it. She winked. Not at anyone in particular, just a quick, deliberate gesture before she grabbed 3 thermal charges and sprinted directly into enemy fire. "The signal!" Torin roared into the comm channel. "She's given the signal!" What happened next would be analyzed in tactical academies for years to come. Every Krell cub in the engagement saw Torin's reaction. They'd been waiting for this, training for this. When their human commander gave the signal, they responded with the blind faith of youth and the ferocity of their predator heritage. 12 young Krell warriors charged the Hectoran position from 3 different angles, roaring their species' ancient war cries. Their sudden coordinated assault was so unexpected, so seemingly suicidal, that the Hectorans broke formation trying to track multiple threats. In the chaos, Reyna scaled a cliff face that should have been impossible to climb, planted her charges on an overhanging rock formation, and brought half the canyon wall down on the enemy position. The battle ended in 4 minutes. Commander Vrask, the base's Krell military leader, demanded an explanation. "How did you coordinate that assault, Sergeant Reyna? I saw no standard tactical signals, no comm chatter, yet the cubs moved as one unit." Reyna blinked in confusion. "Sir, I didn't coordinate anything, I just improvised." "You gave the signal," Torin interjected, his voice filled with reverence. "The human combat signal, the wink of dominance." The what now? It took 3 hours to untangle the misunderstanding. When Reyna finally understood, she laughed so hard she cried. Then she tried to explain it was just a casual gesture, meaningless, certainly not a combat signal. The cubs didn't believe her. How could they? They'd seen the results. Where humans saw coincidence, the young Krell saw pattern. Where Reyna saw chaos, they saw instinctive tactical genius so deeply ingrained that even she wasn't consciously aware of it. Commander Vrask studied the battle footage for days. He was older, wiser, less prone to the enthusiastic interpretations of youth. But even he couldn't deny the results. When Reyna gave the signal, impossible things happened. Perhaps it wasn't the wink itself, but what it represented. The human capacity to find humor in death, to remain playful even when staring down extinction, to casually acknowledge danger and then overcome it through sheer audacity. Within a month, half the base had adopted the gesture. Not just Krell, but Thorians, Ventari, even the usually stoic hegemony observers. The meaning had evolved beyond Tauren's original interpretation. Now, a wink meant, watch this. I'm about to do something inadvisable that will probably work, because the universe hasn't figured out yet that it should kill me. Reyna tried to stop it. She really did. But how do you explain to an entire military base that they've built a tactical doctrine around the equivalent of a thumbs up? Especially when that doctrine kept producing results. The final straw came when Command officially requested documentation of Human Gesture Protocol Sigma Wink for the Coalition Combat Manual. Reyna winked at the camera during her instructional video. She couldn't help it. Behind the lens, she could see Tauren and his cohort, watching with such earnest attention, such absolute faith in human tactical superiority. Let them have this, she thought. Let them believe humans were so perfectly evolved for warfare that even their casual gestures carried tactical significance. In truth, humans were just very good at convincing themselves that reckless stupidity was actually courage, and apparently, that confidence was contagious. The video ended with Reyna's official statement. The wink is not a combat signal. It's just something we do. But if it makes you brave enough to charge into impossible odds and win anyway, then maybe it doesn't matter what I intended. Maybe that's the real human signal, not the wink itself, but the audacity to believe we'll survive it. Tauren watched the video 17 times that night, and each time he was more certain than ever. Humans were the most terrifying predators in the galaxy, and they didn't even realize it. That perhaps made them even more dangerous.